Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Now I'm going to be posting a load of videos today. I can imagine that a lot of content creators are going to be posting videos. It's going to be about Apocalypse or Horseman of the Apocalypse or different synergy combinations in order to maximize and showcase that, hey, Professor Xavier's good with his synergies, and then the way they work with Apocalypse, they're good also. That's really the narrative of all these videos being posted. So yeah, in this one in particular, I'm going to be focusing on Archangel. Now the combinations, now there will be various combinations. Suicide Masteries will vary the damage output that you'll see on screen in a moment. But this is what I want to test out. So we've got Professor Xavier here. Now this will not be with the 4 Cerebro charges already up. So, I know I said it's Cerebro, but... you know, a lot of people say bro a lot. So, Cerebro charges, sorry to be more exact on there. So yeah, we've got this fight here with Rhino, which we're going to do in a minute with Archangel. But I just want to point out synergy number 1 with Professor Xavier. So we've got down here, because it's all about Archangel, he will have plus 30% bleed potency. So that's the first thing, number 1. Number 2, Apocalypse is in the synergy as well. The first thing to point out is that with him in this, there is each hit of a heavy attack, which, as we know, Archangel's played with just throwing heavy attacks in order to add bleed effects, and as well, you know, look to combine poison effects to create neurotoxin. So parry heavy, parry heavy, parry heavy. But each hit of a heavy attack into a stunned opponent has a 10% chance to pause their neurotoxins for 3 seconds. Very, very handy, especially if you're hitting into a champion that's stunned. And let's face it, when those neurotoxins expire, they stun. Could be a case of, while stunned, doing the parry heavy, you are pausing those neurotoxins, keeping them on the enemy longer. So that's what we're going to do. But, as well, if you have a Horseman of the Apocalypse, neurotoxin stun duration is increased by 30%. So what we want to do is lots of parry heavies, and also once the neurotoxins expire and go into a stun, we want to increase our kind of rate of attack, and then see that neurotoxin stun duration is still increased. And it just adds in, just kind of works well. So Horseman of the Apocalypse is what we're going to trigger now. And once Apocalypse has those 4 genetic codes, you're then able to do Apocalypse fight abilities, which is all about creating other mutants as the Horseman of Apocalypse, which could be handy for a plethora of champions. Maybe I'll be covering that a lot in some of the other videos. But Archangel is one of my favorites, so I thought it's only apt that we try and kind of do the Horseman of Apocalypse and see how good he is from the point of throwing neurotoxins. And as well, it's better when the champion is a bleed and poison receptor as opposed to a poison or bleed immunity champion. Because look, you're not going to get any neurotoxins. So let's test it out and see what and how this champion now works. Is it more potent? Let's do it. Now, did I see any great improvement from utilizing this synergy here? Yes, there was, well, and with the Professor Xavier synergy, there was more bleed potency. Yeah, absolutely. Could I have done 4 fights first with Professor Xavier, Professor X, and then done 4 with Apocalypse to maximize damage output based on the core element to the synergy of Professor X? Yeah, of course I could. I could have increased the special attack damage. Of course. Will that be something that will be good down the line with Apocalypse if you've already utilized all your genetic codes? Of course. And we'll talk about that in a moment, or I've already talked about that in another video. But this is all about Archangel. The synergy, Horseman of Apocalypse with Archangel, yes. Neurotoxins and length of time, great. It allows me to keep the neurotoxins on longer, and I don't have to worry quite so much about them falling off, which is really important, especially if you're going up against high regen champions, or those that need their ability accuracy reduced massively. So I did find this incredibly enjoyable. But herein lies the problem, and the problem is the extent of usage of the genetic codes. As you can see, 4+, and then we're able to give it to, we're able to get some good stuff from 4+, and we're able to do the Horseman of Apocalypse. Without, it has to be 4, But the thing that interests me the most is that if you are solely using Apocalypse for the point of damage output, you slash that damage output for special attack damage as you've used all those genetic codes, as it says over there. At the start of the fight, 1 indefinite passive prowess for each genetic code, each increasing special attack damage by 40%. 160% damage from special attacks that you would limit your damage output by if you decided to create a Horseman of the Apocalypse. Is it worth it? Sort of, but this is where I think the synergies of Professor X and Apocalypse do help to amplify the mutant line and are just really fantastic ones. But you have to make that decision during the fight. Do I think I'm going to use Apocalypse right at the very end, or do I feel like I'm going to be giving away a lot of my genetic codes to create Horseman of the Apocalypse? So that's a decision down to the player. But I thought it was very interesting to look at these things and go, look, is it worth it? Yes and no. For me, as a massive fan of Apocalypse and as well the champion's been put in, I probably wouldn't do Horseman of the Apocalypse as much unless there was one specific fight with a specific node that I felt that it wasn't really applicable. Also, I'd see more value for utilising this in incursions with champions that benefit from Horseman of the Apocalypse. I don't think I will don't think that much that I will be using a full mutant team like this. Especially, I don't think it's realistic that I get, I don't know, anything more than a 4-star version of Apocalypse and as well of Professor X. But still, a very enjoyable synergy. It's absolutely amazing to see a 6-star Archangel being put in game, and as well the extent of what you can do to increase the potency of such a fantastic and well-loved champion. So yeah, this really does help out Archangel, and as well if you pair it well with Professor X, but it does mean you have to do at least 8 fights with both to get the special attack damage improvement that comes from Professor X, which is going to be this one here right at the top, based on 4 Cerebro charges being on the champion. So you're going to have to do 4 fights with Professor X, 4 fights with Apocalypse, and therefore you'll be able to get a huge damage dealing Horseman of the Apocalypse with some bleed and neurotoxin potency improvements. So you get the best of everything from damage output from special attacks, and as well the potency of bleeds, neurotoxins, and the stuns that follow. So yeah, hard work to get to it, but it would be a case that the damage would be incredibly fun. So little video deep dive in that. Thanks very much for watching this. See you soon.